Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And this one is going over the different types of class in Dungeonborne. It's a recent game that came into the game into Steam February 2nd, and we're gonna be taking a look at the different classes they have so far on this demo. And that is wrong button. On the event section, that way we can go to the class. Alright, our first class. So far they only have 7 classes. This one, the Death Knight, will be coming in tomorrow. This one came into the game today. This one's for tomorrow. Alright, our first class is the Fighter. It's a versatile and balanced warrior adept at all forms of combat. They can protect allies as tanks or lead a charge as courageous commanders. The pros and cons are tanky, capable of in melee combat, can use most weapons. The cons is slow based movements. Yeah, I try to play that. I mean, that slow based movement is just similar to my mage. I mean, my Cryomancer. It is so slow when he walks. I was hoping he can run, but nope. Okay, and the weapon of choice, we have one-handed, two-handed, and we got daggers, one-handed maces, shields, and crossbows. As for the at the moment on this demo, we only have a human type on the fighter. That will probably be updated and improved as the game is developed. We'll probably have different types of species, like like trolls, elves, and all that stuff that coming in. That will come if the actual game is actually being liked by players and like being played. So, and they get like funding to for the game. Yeah, we're hoping, but at the moment we're just gonna go over the different classes. And as for the skill on the fighter is the whirlwind. Lift your equipped weapon and spin, striking surrounding enemies multiple times while able to move around. It requires a two-handed weapon. The second skill is the rush. Quickly dash forward in a rushing charge. That is helpful given the fact that you have a slow movement speed. And we have the passive skill. The first one is Vengeful Riposte. After a successful block, briefly increases critical strike chance by a small amount. And we have the weapon mastery. Whirlwind increases physical resistance by a significant amount during the spin. And we have the restraint. Cannot damage allies and cannot be damaged by allies. That is that's a very cool have a passive skill. Fired up, gain a small amount of movement speed for 3 seconds after a rush skill. And proficiency, whirlwind increases movement speed by a moderate amount while spinning. And that you have there is the fighter. Our next one is the priest. Priests are vital to any adventuring team's survival with their ability to heal and support their allies. They are essential to keep their team fighting strong. I almost misread that. And we have the pros and cons. We got is healing allies, buffing allies, and the cons are low damage output, weak in prolonged melee combat. That is true. He has like a very low stamina. And the weapon of choice is one-handed maces, shields, and staves. Currently, there's only human on there. And as for the skill, the first one is Divine Guidance. Heals target ally for a small amount of life. If no target is selected, heal self instead. Sustained casting increased effectiveness. Requires a staff. Cannot heal undead targets. Our first passive is the Cleansing Rites. Divine Guidance can dispel 1 debuff from an ally. Resurrection. Casting Divine Guidance on a fallen ally revives them. This ability can only be used 1 per adventure and is reset upon entering a portal. Next one is Recompense. Divine Protection now simultaneously shields the surrounding allies. Faithful. Gain a tiny amount of mana recovered per second at full life. And the last one is Benediction. Increases elemental damage of self by a small amount for 5 seconds after healing with Divine Guidance. And that is the priest. Our next class is the rogue. Master of stealth and deception. Rogue excels at assassination, thievery, and deadly dagger attacks. And the pros are high base movement speed, high base door interaction speed, high base looting speed, of course. Good at getting in and out of combat, and invisibility. The cons are squishy, weak in prolonged melee combat. Ooh. Oh, kind of sleepy. Well, that is kind of. Well, the rogue is not supposed to be fighting in long fights. It's supposed to go in there, get behind the opponent, and just like one strike the enemy from behind. That's what a rogue is. Sneak up on you, strike you, and you're pretty much dead. Quick in and out. That's it. And then his weapon of choice is one-handed swords, daggers, and crossbows. And it's only human type only so far. And we have the skills. The first one is petrifying poison. Coats melee weapon with poison. Next successful attack inflicts petrify to the target. Petrify immobilizes the target, reduces incoming damage by 100%. That's cool. And breaks on damage taken. The next one, our passive skill, the first one is sleight of hand. Can steal items from enemies while in stealth. That's cool. Featherfoot, gain the ability to double jump. That's cool. Pretty sweet actually. Ambush, increase life steal by a moderate amount while in stealth. Disabled when stealth is when stealth breaks. Evaporate, enter stealth after killing an enemy. That is very cool. And the last one is toxic bolt. Petrifying potion can now be applied to range weapons, and that right there is the rogue. Our next class is the Swordmaster. Wandering warriors from the Far East that wield magic enhanced swords to perform powerful attacks. Though these abilities come at a cost of the swords that can only be equipped in their class specific sword slots. So this class is a little bit more difficult to get used to and get a hang of it. See, we got the pros and cons. It's strong range burst damage, good at keeping enemies at a distance, capable in melee combat. And the cons are relies heavily on skills, resource intensive. That's what I was thinking. Alright, for the weapon of choice is you got one-handed swords, two-handed swords, shields, and crossbows. Currently there's only human on there, only human for now. As for the skill, the first one is Psionic Blades. Summons up to 4 Psionic Swords from your class specific sword slots that shoots towards enemies, dealing damage and restoring small amount of life. The type of damage dealt is determined by the summoned sword. Sword shots will be consumed. That's pretty I guess it's somewhat. I think that's why it says that it's very resource extensive, and it can. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm saying there for a moment. As for the passive skill, we got 6. Now we have 5 of them. First one is Healing Scabbard. The life recovered provided by Sonic Sword is increased by a significant amount. Sonic Marker. Hitting enemies with Sonic Blades can causes them to glow for 120 seconds. We got Deflection. During Whirlwind's blade gain moderate amount of damage reduction. And the fourth one is Momentum. Hitting an enemy with Sonic Blade increases critical chance by moderate amount for 5 seconds. They should have a space there, that way it's not. It's just a typo. The last passive is the Crippling Strike. If Sonic Blades lands a critical strike on an enemy, it reduces their movement speed by a small amount for 5 seconds. And that right there is the Swordmaster. And the next one is the Cryomancer. This is the class I chose on my first run. The Cryomancer is a mage who commands the power of fire, capable of delivering high burst damage from a distance. The Cryomancer can deal lethal blows to enemies. I tried that. The problem with his skill is that he runs out of mana way too quickly. So I was so annoyed by it. And okay, we got the pros and cons. Is range burst damage, AoE damage, magic specialization. The cons are slow base movement speed. Yeah, I experienced that. It's so slow and dependent on positioning. That is true. The weapon of choice is one-handed swords, staves, and shields. Currently there's only human only. As for the skill, we got 2 skill. The first one is Pyroblast. Hurls a fiery a boulder that deals fire damage to targets within range. Channeling the cast increases effectiveness. While starting to cast, draw in identified source of fire from surrounding to enhance fire damage. Requires stab. That's true. I was playing. I was in a section where there are like torches on the wall to light up the area. When I casted my fireball, it actually drew in all the fire on from those things, and it came into my hand, and it made the fireball a lot more powerful. But the area got dark because it consumed the flame from those torches. Okay, and the passive skill we got 5. It is the first one is rekindle, resets cooldown of fire blast on kill. Swift casting, hitting an enemy with fire blast grants swift casting for 10 seconds. Swift casting reduces the channeling time of your next pyro blast by half. Yeah, I gotta get used to his skill because right now it's disappointing me at the moment. Pyro blast and fire blast apply ignite to an enemy target. Enemy targets hit. Ignite inflicts recurring fire damage over time, and enhanced combustion increases the damage of ignite applied and extended its duration. And we got the mana surge, restores a small amount of mana each time ignite is triggered. And that there is the Cryomancer. And now we have the Death Knight. This one is coming in tomorrow. I will try to play him if I can, and hopefully I can use him without encountering other players, because this is a somewhat of a PvP game. Even though you're doing a solo adventure, other players can go into the same area that you are and kill you. And remember, do not take anything or equip anything while you go in there, because once you are killed, all your items, all your gear, all your stuff in your inventory, you will lose it. And you will start up with nothing again. You start up from zero. I first learned that when I first started playing, so this is not one of those MMOs that you can go in a dungeon and not to worry about other players and not losing all your stuff. This is pretty much a PvP game. Even though your solo adventure is supposed to be not PvP, but it is. Okay, now for the Death Knight, it's a terrifying warrior that strikes fear into enemies at close range combat, capable of delivering sustained damage and pulling distant enemies into melee range. Pros and cons. Pros: initiate fights, melee AoE damage, and melee brawler. Cons: relies on soul energy, weak survival skills, and low sustainability. As for the weapons, one-handed, two-handed, shield, and crossbow. Oh, burp there. And the undead cannot be healed by holy magic. Well, yeah. And must collect the souls of living creatures through killing blows to restore their energy. Our first skill is the Soul Shroud. Summons a ring of unholy power around self, dealing recurring shadow damage to all nearby enemies for duration. Our next skill is the Grasp of the Grave. Fires a spectral chain at target, pulling them to your side. Deals a small amount of shadow damage if it hits an enemy target. And as for the passive, the first one is Soul Reaper. Resets the cooldown of Grasp of the Grave on kill. Lifesteal restores a small amount of life for each soul essence absorbed. Grim Harvest, Grasp of the Grave generates a small amount of soul energy if it hits an enemy target. And the next one is Endless Binding. Reduces the cooldown of the Grasp of the Grave by 20 seconds if it hits an allied target. Soul Explosion is our last passive. When the Soul Shroud ends, it deals shadow damage to all enemies within its area. If over 50 soul energy were spent during Soul Shroud, the shadow damage is significantly increased when it ends. And that right there is the Death Knight. That is pretty cool. And our last class is the Cryomancer. Okay, and the Cryomancer is a spellcaster that harasses enemy team with ranged AoE with proper coordination. The Cryomancer excels at sculpting Offensive landscape that gives their team an upper hand. So you can actually change the landscape. Let's see, and the pros and cons is range AoE crowd control, strong survival skills, high sustainability. The cons are require sustained casting and low burst damage. Weapon choice, one-handed sword, staves, and shield. Undead, same way with the other one, you can't heal with holy magic. Okay, and the first skill is the Ice Storm. Summons a mobile and expanding Ice Storm that stops and casts Blizzard at max size, dealing a small amount of cold damage and gradually freezing enemy within its range. It requires a staff. As for the passive, the first one is Frostbite. Ice Storm's initial phase damage enemies, reduces their movement speed by a small amount. We got Winter's Wrath, increases Ice Storm's AoE in second phase. Third one is Shattering Ice. The ice, when Ice Barrier is lifted, it shatters and freezes nearby enemies, with the freeze duration matching of the Ice Storm. And we got Soul Freeze, gain a small amount of soul energy when Ice Storm freezes an enemy. That's cool. Permafrost increases freeze duration by 2 seconds for Ice Storm and Shattering Ice. And that right there. And the final one is the Cryomancer. Alright guys, which one would you like if you are playing this? And it's currently on demo on Steam. I'm not sure how long it will be on demo, and or if there will be any update. I'm sure there is, because a lot of people are liking it. I somewhat like it, and I also somewhat don't like it, because they should make changes on this. I hope they do. If they do, it would be really cool. When you're doing single adventure, I don't want other players there. I want to enjoy the actual exploration of the castle or dungeon or the area I'm supposed to be going into. I want to fight the monsters, collect loot, open chests, and all that stuff that normally is with dungeon crawling. So I hope they make that small change on there. Alright. And I more than likely will create a gameplay on the Cryomancer. Which one would you guys choose? Would you guys go for the warrior? Because he has a very cool I got killed by a warrior a little while ago. He does that whirlwind on me and kill me instantly. So if you're more of a healer type, this will be good for you. The same way with the which one was it? I believe I think he does also, if I'm not mistaken. It actually heals a little bit. So if you're more into like defense, this will be good for you. And the same way with the tank, I mean the fighter. But if you're more like stealthy person, that would be yours. That would be rogue. And this is like most of this is the brawling type. I would choose him. And if you want with a range type, that would be the Pyromancer or the Cryomancer. All right, guys, this is the class selection and the different types of class on the Dungeonborne that is currently on Steam. And this is the in-depth look. And that will be all for this video, guys. I will be making another one later on, but as for now, I will see you later. And always, thanks for watching the video. Later, peace.